Imagine any stereotypical, slightly overweight man rubbing his hairy stomach, and you get the picture. I don't have to imagine. I see it every day.
See you in spring, toes.
Hello friends, trace amounts of science. Today we're getting into what is strictly a Neckbeard story. It is Richard the Great. OP pinged me when she posted it, or he posted it, I'm not sure. And I said it was a little short, give me one more part and we'll do it. Bing, bang, boom, one day later we got one more part. So I guess I'm going to throw this thing up and see how it does. And hopefully you guys can look forward to more. The writing looks impeccable. Like on my first pass through the first story, I'm like, yeah, I would look forward to reading this. But stretching 8 minutes into a 30-minute video is not good. See, we're already doing it right now. So, but stop talking about preamble or whatever this is. And let's go ahead and get directly into the story. Richard the Great, submitted by user CelixQ or Cozy the Snowman. Between those two, I prefer Cozy the Snowman just because, like, you know, it's gendered. CelixQ is like kind of e-girl type of name. No offense, you know. It's just, that's what it reminds me of. That's why I called you she right at the start. Anyway, hello ReddX community. Long-time lurker, first-time contributor. Well, I'm sorry to come at you like that, first-time contributor. I don't know if you actually feel I was coming after you or not, but probably it's fine. I'd like to say that this post is going to be a saga, but I simply want to gauge interest in my story. This is a story about a dear friend whom is an inspiration in my life. He was the very epitome of don't try this at home. Yeah, setting examples that everybody should follow of what not to do. But before we begin, I'd like to add a disclaimer. Do not judge him too harshly. He's what you would call a complicated soul. Where this story highlights a moment in time, I find the complexity of the human condition should not be underscored simply by a singular instance. I mean, that is 100% true. It's very easy to paint a caricature with choice moments of a person. Unfortunately, that is the destiny which I face, because caricatures are often more humorous than like, oh yeah, I understand where he's coming from. But I guess I'll pick up the vibe of the story. We'll see where we're going. Our characters, OP, that's me, roughly 28, 29, living in the condo, just back from my first contract with the military. Impish fool, masquerading as a pseudo-intellectual. We've all been there. Yeah, I think I'm still there, actually. Richard the Great, a 6'5", pudgy gay man, as vain as the days are long. Drinks too much, talks too much, knows too much. Stepped straight out of a sitcom, came with a literal catchphrase, and fancied himself a political guru and cheap vodka sommelier. I do love when the beards have a catchphrase, because then it's like really easy to call back to the entire story, you know? You should post some of your favorite catchphrases and the related sagas in the comments, and then maybe go watch some of those suggestions. And that would be really good for everybody, mostly me. But you guys can have fun too. Yeah, I don't know shit about politics, I don't pretend to, but cheap vodka sommelier, let me tell you something about Popov. It's terrible. Kara and Vera are the neighbors across the way. Sweet and helpful lesbian couple who tried their best to be great to everyone and rarely disappointed. Aw, we need some good souls mixed in there, that's true. Scotty and Nugget. Scotty and Nugget were the dogs that Richard had. Scotty, a peculiar pup, a border collie who had the worst attitude when you talked about his butt. However, he absolutely wanted you to touch it. Yeah, just don't mention it.
Just grab my ears while you my butt!
I'm shy, but I still want the thing. This dog would also bite Richard on occasion. But he kept this dog like it was his son. Yeah, that's not really how it works. Dogs don't understand that. You need to draw the boundary. You have domain over this animal. And yeah, if he doesn't respect you, then sometimes he's gonna bite you. Nugget was as sweet as pie and smelled awful, but still, the best damn little dog I ever met. She was a brindle corgi. Yeah, I like a corgi more than a border collie. Border collies are too smart, man. They have to be mentally activated. Most corgis are just pretty happy to exist. Anyway, The Shattening, which I guess is the subtitle of this story. On a quiet Sunday morning in our castle of condos, I arose on a day where I had nothing more to do than laze about the house. Ah, yes, let's watch 8 hours of Netflix today. That's what's on the schedule. I wish I could do that. I walked out of my room and noticed, as I noticed every day, that the house was a mess. Feeling groggy and despondent, I went to brew the afternoon's cup of coffee as His Highness slept his royal slumber. I go into the pantry and the grounds, and I move the bag, and a roach the length of my palm runs out to greet me. I jump back, startled, and then you find the closest newspaper box container shoe to crush the life out of him, right? This condo, though in atrocious order, had and always would have an insect problem due to it being built in the 80s next to a large drainage field and a few shopping malls down the road from us. Damn, dude. Doesn't that stink? I guess the drainage gotta go somewhere. Why not right next to the place that I live? This sucks for real. It was at that moment that I decided that, okay, I was awake, and I walked from the kitchen and stepped into the living room. I looked down and noticed that I cannot see the ground. It is covered in food wrappers and newspapers. I'll note none of which you used to smash that cockroach. His lordship, though responsible enough to clean up himself and his laundry, had decided that he was too good to actually clean up after his detritus. Yeah, he expects you to do what his mom used to do and come through the room with a trash bag and be the little cleaning fairy. But that's not how it's gonna go anymore, Richard. Isn't Dick short for Richard? Can we call him that? Probably not. YouTube's not gonna like that.
Do you like this? Do you like this? Well, no more.
But I'm calling him that in my head, I want you to know. Anyway, OP says the help would take care of all of that, and currently, yeah, I was the help. Coming from a military background, I'd personally been at the house for not but 72 hours and decided that, yeah, I had had enough. I endeavored to clean, and the task, though great, was nothing that I couldn't handle. I went from the house after getting dressed, and I went to purchase the necessary supplies needed to start my quest to vanquish the vacuuming for my liege. I mean, does he actually have lordship over you? Are you living on his land? Instead of sharecropping, it's just share cleaning? But despite the name, he doesn't share in any of the cleaning. But if he provides a roof, I'll be your little house boy. Not a rent boy, that's a different thing. But a house boy. OP says, now you might be asking yourself, how is this a Neckbeard story? How does this relate to the ReddX TM brand? Honestly, relates pretty closely. We've seen a few beard nests cleaned up in our time. What the fuck is an OP? Why am I talking in the third person? The answer to these questions shall be answered in time, dear reader. Yeah, I'm strapped in. I had no questions. Like, you started the story waking up in a beard nest. Okay, how do we quote-unquote fix it? And you really can't fix it unless you fix the denizen or move. So I guess that's how this saga, the great mystery at the end. Does Richard turn it around, or does OP flee forever? We might find out someday if the saga gets finished. This OP seems like a go-getter, though. Hey, read my shit. I'm like, yeah, all right. Especially when it's like well-written, well-punctuated, easy to read. I'm enjoying myself so far. Anyway, OP says, I bought every smell-good, lavender-scented cleaner that they had. In fact, I spent no less than hundreds of pennies on this endeavor. And I walked back to the place considering that it was just up the way. And as I opened the door, I noticed that Saya had arisen, incredulously looking at me as I carried a mop, a new broom, and no less than 10 gallons of cleaning supplies, and also so many gloves. You don't need that many gloves. Did you buy, like, latex gloves? You should buy the thick rubber ones for, like, washing dishes and stuff. That's good enough for cleaning, right? Whatever. It's your money. I admire your go-getteriness. That's what I'll say. Anyway, OP continues to explain Richard. He has what you would call a resting bitch face, if it was confused/curious as well. He sat with screwdriver in hand, If you think I'm referring to a tool, that's cute. And he was petting his dog with the other. Screwdriver probably like the lowest effort alcohol. He's still living in high school is what's going on. His hair a messy coif of bedhead, glasses on his slender face, and he, from what I can remember, was wearing a Star Wars t-shirt, running shorts, although he never ran a day in his life, and a blue cross, bejeweled with only the finest Grogu giblets that money could buy. Ice on his neck, ice in his screwdriver. Look who is lord of the manor, indeed. We get our first line from Richard here. Did you decided that you were gonna clean up your shitty attitude today? He smiled, proud of his jape. No, I'm gonna clean up your filthy apartment because apparently you think it's fine to have coupons from last year scattered about in your Tupperware graveyard, and yeah, I disagree. Richard was about to undergo a very invasive facial surgery due to a year of neglect to his personal hygiene. He was on order to stay away from heavy chemicals and excessive labor due to an infection in his jaw. At least that was his alibi to me. Yeah, tooth infection, that's real, dude. That's right next to your brain. Fucking forget about it. But I'm sure he's lying. The chemicals was because it could give him a serious headache, which I have seen put him down for a full day, so I told him to retreat to his room. Yeah, stuff a towel under the door. He's definitely getting off easy, but I love that OP just doesn't care. It's like there's a job that needs to get done, and I'm going to do it. That's gumption, bro. Some real get up and go. The type of stuff that the military will teach you, yes. Anyway, Richard insisted that he had to stay out for a few more minutes due to his Lego Star Wars progress. Unsure as to why, other than it was easier than arguing with him, I gave in and watched him play for a few minutes between smoking a cigarette here and there. As it was starting to become the middle of the day, I insisted that now I needed to get started. The great Richard bemoaned my request. Okay, Bob, when you're done, let me get a grilled cheese and another orange juice. Oh, you want another orange juice? I'll give you another orange juice with my hot yellow piss in it.
Ah! Whoa! Is that piss? Oh!
That's the only way this could go. I'm not your mother, okay? I'm not gonna cook you a fucking grilled cheese. Or maybe he's gonna cook it, I don't know. I just don't want to be called Mom, ever. But you can't let Richard know that's what pushes your button, you know? So you just, you get your revenge in secret. I don't actually condone any of that. OP says, I smirked and to work I went. I stripped the house of many of its dust-covered, dander-ridden patinas, and I pulled out quite a bit of his accessories outside. I literally found a Beatles album in its original sleeve that I had no idea what it was until it was dusted off. It was brown and completely unrecognizable. It was an original press of Sgt. Pepper, which for my record aficionados was signed by Ringo. It's just Ringo.
Hey guys, I wrote a song. You know what? I'm gonna put it right here. Right on the refrigerator.
Richard was not your ordinary neckbeard. In his youth, he had lived in various parts of the United States, fought for gay rights in America, and went overseas for work in a past life. Past life? Yeah, I guess I get what you mean. My Navy stuff is a past life. The high school stuff, the comedy stuff. Yeah, current life is just wife and kids. And it is stressful, but honestly a lot more fulfilling than basically anything else. Sorry, what were we talking about? OP says, I know why Richard's life looked the way that it did, but that's a story for another time. Back to the beard nest. As I scraped up last year's print, yesteryear's food waste, 8 bags full, I stopped to take a rest as I had finally conquered the small kitchenette. Dude, this is not livable at all. This is the kind of rot that's been allowed to fester for years. And Richard just doesn't care. I hear a knock and then a familiar voice. It was Kara. And Kara was a very short and plucky woman who had turned her life around and was also a born-again Christian. Getting it done, hell yeah. Kara knew about the mess, and this was her way of putting herself into a position to assist, because she knew that I would never ask her myself. And, I mean, she's a good one. I'd have to appreciate you, like, an excessive amount as a human being to come over and help you dig through mountainfuls of trash, even if you were just next door. Sorry, not sorry, I got a lot of shit going on, okay? But I'm glad Kara's here for real. So she grabbed a pair of gloves and got to work. We had simply spoke about what we were trying to accomplish when who shows up? Vera! Cleaning party! All hands on deck! All hands on deck! Cleaning party! All hands on deck! All hands on deck! Cleaning party! What the fuck am I doing? Kara and Vera MVPs. That's all I'm trying to say. When I say that these two were helpful, they were helpful. Capital helpful. We had 80% of that house done in 2 hours. God damn. They mean business for real. As we approached the hallway leading to Princess's bedroom, I knocked and shouted through the door, "Come out, we're gonna clean in there." "Hey, God, I'm in the closet." My response, "You did that 30 years ago, hurry up." That's fun, we have fun. We all had a laugh. The entire house was filled with queer people, so yeah, it was less problematic than it sounds. I mean, yeah, you're joking with friends, or what I assume maybe is a friend. If you felt brave enough to say it, I feel brave enough to applaud it. How about that? It's a good joke. Don't get too hung up on it. Just have a laugh. Anyway, Richard comes out wearing a full smoking jacket, a cravat, lounge pants, and of course his cross as he crosses the threshold. His hair wet from recently showering because he had company. I smelled like last month's ravioli and dirty newspaper, but it was fine. The dogs retreated from him toward the front door of our place. We all stood around talking, taking a short break by the front door, chit-chatting, carrying on, Richard telling his fanciful tales, thanking our guests for assisting his houseboy. Oh boy. Like I told you, that's different than a rent boy, all right? And OP clarifies, important note, Richard and I have never been intimate, nor was I interested in him in any way. He was always just my good friend. My reply to that comment was to roll my eyes, as that was his nickname for me. He's really got that unchecked ego running out of control. Punch him in the jaw, see if you can jiggle something around and fix it. But I feel like I must be very clear, so look me in the face. I ain't nobody's boy. I don't know what you're talking about, good friend, let him get away with some shit like that. Nuh-uh. But if you're fine, I guess I'm fine, you know? Why get too twisted up about it? The girls laughed and played it up, but all of a sudden, the two dogs grouped by the front door made a commotion. And as we all go to look down, we see that Scotty has apparently gotten into some of the loose food, and then he sprays Nugget, who is directly underneath him, with a brown barrage of waste. Yeah, greasy, rotten food passed through a dog. Perfect. I guess we know what the next thing to clean up is. That's all Richard. If you could imagine this larger dog hovering over the top of the smaller dog and spraying the equivalent of a sewage pipe of crap all over the other dog's face, head, and torso, yeah, it was something like that. Poor pupper. Richard takes Scotty on a walk, and I carry Nugget to the bathroom to wash this unfortunate mess. Dude, you're cleaning up the dog's poop? Oh my god. This is sad. Kara and Vera follow me to see if I need any assistance. I simply look up at them and ask if they're hungry, and that's where we'll end this for the moment. If you happen to like this dribble, let me know. Don't be shy to let me know if you see any other key errors or if this was hard to follow. I appreciate everyone who took the time. Until next time. Yes, indeed. I think the main question that I have regarding the tale, I mean, the events are straightforward, but just why? Why do you do this to yourself or let somebody do this to you? But really, you're doing it to yourself. I hope that spine has gotten stronger since then. I'm going to go ahead and use this opportunity to look at these necklaces full of ReddX Industries brand spine powder. My goodness, they look beautiful, don't they? Beautiful! No, I'm not saying it's going to fix your spine, make everything all better, but it might. We're not FDA approved yet, but we could be. Really, I do enjoy the story, but I know I'm sort of going to end up grinding my teeth at OP. Like, why would you wash the poop off someone else's dog? That's your dog. That's your mess that we cleaned up. This is all your problem, all you're doing. But nobody wants to call him out on it for some reason. After a certain point, it just becomes enabling that person, but I don't know. Episode's a little short, so we'll cruise on into the next part, which is the one that I asked for, and I hope that you will enjoy. Richard the Great, Part 2. Ho, 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 and a half a bottle of brandy. That does sound like a Merry Christmas, doesn't it? Hello, ReddX community! Well, didn't we just see you? Hello. Back by unpopular demand, I bring you another tale of your lowness and a subsequent depiction of misfortune and hilarity. I mean, dogs pooping on top of each other. That's pretty funny, but I know you can top it. This story takes place during the holiday season of 2015. Our character list is the same except for one addition. Above Average Joe. AAJ. He is a portly man-child of mildly bearded proportion, 30-age male, and, well, just about the nerdiest nerd who ever did nerd. Though not integral to our story, he's needed for contextual purposes. Richard the Great, yep, still a beard, still cantankerous, still very dirty. Backstory. Me and Joe, at this point, had been friends for about 5 years, and the whole reason I was living with his homeliness in the first place was due to Joe understanding my situation where I was homeless, and I moved in about 4 months before because I had run into some issues with employment and lost my place to live. Without further ado, my shame, your entertainment. Thank you for bearing that cross, you know? I arose one sleepy afternoon on the weekend before Christmas with the day off. I had started a new job, and as I was taking care of the house, I made it my mission to attempt to keep it squared away. Oh, so yeah, I guess OP he's doing it for the rent. Don't want to be homeless, gotta play ball. It's a shitty situation, but it does explain a lot of things. Of course, keeping this house clean was a Sisyphusian task if there ever was one. Between Above Average Joe and Richard, it was just a whirlwind of Mountain Dew boxes and spent orange juice jugs. I was happy to have a couch to sleep on, as the other 2 rooms in this place were occupied by Joe and the WoW server in his room, leaving me no space in the second room. Yeah, sorry bro, gotta run my WoW server. That's funny. Certainly some healthy priorities there. You're a good friend, but we gotta raid this Friday. Richard, however, had plenty of space in his room, though his direct quote to me about setting up a cot in his room was, "If you're gonna sleep in my room, then you gotta sleep in my bed." Oh, thanks, but no thanks. As I had no interest in being a human pincushion, if you take me, I opted for the Italian linen handmade couch. It's as pretentious as it sounded, but it was comfortable all the same. Yeah, better than the concrete. Joe woke me from my slumber. "Good morning, princess. It's 3 p.m. and Richard was wondering if he could use his couch." In the most sarcastic groan I could muster without opening my eyes, I mumbled, "If he wants to sit on the couch, he's gotta wrestle me for it." I smirked and opened the lids of my eyeballs and directly wished that I had not. Richard was in a pair of high-cut briefs that were a blue spandex material, and he was wearing an off-white shirt which came directly up to his navel. Oh yeah, those stomach shirts? That's brave, bro. That's pretty brave. Imagine any stereotypical, slightly overweight man rubbing his hairy stomach, and you get the picture. I don't have to imagine. I see it every day.
See you in spring, toes.
The retort still plays in my head clear as day. Richard spoke in a sultry disposition. Singlets or Roman Greco? Skid on skid. Joe let out the biggest laugh as I covered my eyes and hopped directly off the couch and into the bathroom to get the hell out of there and find bleach for both my eyes and my ears. Yeah, talk is cheap. I don't actually want the couch, I just don't want you to have it, so I'll go get my singlet. OP says, I continued to do my morning ritual, the 3 S's, shit, shower, shave, when I hear another comment slide out of the side of Richard's mouth, followed by my own laughter. I didn't mean to get you so excited that you had to rush off to the bathroom. I'll buy you dinner first next time. It's not a bad dunk, honestly. For an older gentleman who was a lush, he was always quick on his feet with a joke. I emerged from the latrine, fully clothed as to evade the barrage of jokes ahead if I had come out in a towel. I went to the kitchen to inspect our food supply, as I was the one doing most of the cooking at this point. It is sort of indentured servitude and really horrible to do to another person, but I gotta say, OP keeps a good home. Though Richard could cook, he made the same 3 dishes every day to where I was convinced that that was all he knew how to make. Turkey tacos, chicken masala, and a shrimp scampi. Though not uncomplicated cooking, they were made and they tasted exactly the same, every day. And I was sure that after 4 months of eating the same 3 things that I'd go insane if I had one more fucking piece of white meat. Joe could not cook at all. In fact, he thought the height of culinary cuisine was a tortilla with ham, Colby Jack cheese, and mayo and deli mustard. Honestly, I'm digging that. After a moment of perusing my stock, I bought a few portions of pork loin, bacon, and some assorted beef roasts. Yeah, we're men. We like meat.
Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and get laid.
I was saving the roasts for Christmas Day and Eve, and they were still frozen. I had the pork out, took it upon myself to make it an extra special meal today, as we were celebrating my first paycheck on the job. Dude, congrats, yeah. Bouncing back, look at OP, man. Like I said, fucking get up and go. I grabbed Brussels sprouts, onions, heavy cream, brandy, and honey, and went to work preparing tonight's meal. I looked around and realized that I had nothing to cook in, however, due to the laziness of the other 2 deciding to make dishes and, of course, not cleaning up after themselves. With a sigh of defeat, I went to work on the dishes, when I heard a noise that absolutely made my blood boil. The sound of an Xbox whirring up. Why does that get you heated? I mean, no, yeah, that'll get me heated too. Why are you using a console at all? You need to use a PC for real gaming. To be perfectly clear, I don't actually care. OP says, I did contain myself about that because I simply had a task to accomplish. Is it your Xbox or something? I really don't get it. I scrubbed, soaked, cleared, and shined everything needed to complete this meal. That was when I heard Joe ask me for a favor. Hey dude, could you pour me a vodka code red? As I was already in the kitchen, I thought to myself, I guess I'm already here. Sure, why not? I replied with a less than enthused tone. What do I hear but the sound of our Lady Lord chime in as well? Though not the way that Joe did. No, far too pedestrian, too complex. The clink of glass and ice could be heard over the sounds of CNN's Rachel Maddow scolding Republicans for their choice in incumbent candidate. You better use your fucking words. Without missing a beat, he shoots out like Clint Eastwood on the set of A Few Dollars More. I don't speak to the help. I again had no response for the razor-sharp whip of a wit in that moment. I arrived in the room 2 moments later with 2 drinks made. They are both just loving this, aren't they? It's inhumane. Like, my wife does all this really hard and shitty work too, but at the end of the day, I say thank you so much. You know what I mean? I really appreciate you helping out. To do anything otherwise is just to act like a pompous ass. I hate it. But OP just takes it on board. You do what you gotta do type of shit. Ugh. I don't know if I have it in me. I'll go live in my car. I don't care. OP continues, I decided to also have some of that brandy that was bought for cooking due to my developing headache in the living room, sitting on the couch. They both thanked me and resumed their lounging. Now it was back to the task at hand. I decided to do something as an appetizer that I had never attempted before, which was candied bacon. Oh my god, it sounds awesome. I looked it up, a recipe online, and it didn't seem all that complicated. At this point, I'd been cooking with my mother since I was really young and nearly 23 now. I didn't think I'd be able to mess this up too horribly. Yeah, why not try it and find out? If I fuck it up, then you don't get an appetizer. Boo-hoo. They don't deserve anything but a bowl of bachelor chow anyway. Anyway, OP says I started with the reduction that the bacon needed to be covered in. 2 parts brandy, 1 part brown sugar, half part clarified butter, and a pink of cinnamon and nutmeg. I'm already lost in the sauce. To me, you're pulling out that serious gourmet shit. It didn't mention the cutting board once yet. Please don't do it. Now that I mention it, I think OP's gonna do it. OP says, now the cooking instructions weren't too hard. It said to flame. I did not want to light a pan on fire, so instead I thought to just simmer until the smell of alcohol was gone. Which is correct. The problem is I wasn't over there much because I was getting beckoned every 10 minutes or so. The Red Queen and the Fat Hatter decided to see how many times they could make me get them drinks. And I finally got fed up. You're both grown men who can climb up off your assessments and get your own damn drink. I'm trying to cook for us. They got the memo, and finally it was quiet enough for me to pay attention, though I will admit that full bottle of brandy was missing more than 2 parts. Yeah, a little swig every now and then ain't gonna kill you, you know? You deserve it. Smoke a cigarette while you scramble some eggs, you know? Drop the ash in there, who cares? I cooked this. Everything I make has a secret ingredient in it. Ask me what's in the screwdriver. Here's where the fun begins, says OP. We will dip the bacon in the mixture, and for added assurance that it would cook correctly, I took the rest of the mixture and put it on a cookie sheet with the bacon and popped it in the oven at 300. Nothing crazy, just enough to cook the bacon slow and dry out the mixture. I walked into the other room to hear what was going on the TV, and before I can even get a moment to acknowledge the point being made, a question is hurled at me. OP, do you think Trump would actually win? You know, my grandparents asked me the same question, and I called it correctly in 2016. Because even in 2016, I was on new media. Boots on the ground, trying to sort out answers for myself. Rather than listening to the doom obelisk that says, yeah, he's not got a chance in hell. Okay. Saw how that one panned out. OP said, Dear reader, my politics are not what they used to be, and in the interest of not making this political, I'm gonna leave all this part out. Yeah, I respect that. It's all a fucking joke anyway. If you made it to that point, then you're willing to play the game, and if you're willing to play the game, then you're gonna do the things you're supposed to do. After the inauguration, they take you into a room and they show you a video of JFK in that car, but it's like an angle that nobody's ever seen before, and they're just like, that's what'll happen. If you don't sign this, if you don't listen, that's what's going to happen to you. And then from that point on, you're just like, okay, I'm your houseboy. You're white houseboy. It's not a racial thing. Never mind. OP says, this conversation turned into an argument between 2 drunk men and 1 observer. Joe was the literal and philosophical bigger man for not getting involved. Finally, when it came to a head, he spoke up. I'm sick of listening to you bozos. OP, go smoke a cig, and Richard, turn on Christmas Story and just shut your mouth. When the living embodiment of Santa Claus tells you to shut up and separate, you listen. Just as I was going outside to light that smoke, I heard a loud boom emanate from inside as I was out on the patio. Oh, shit. My bacon. Is bacon supposed to explode? I think someone hit the floor, or it was a gun that was accidentally set off inside. I rushed inside to check and see if everything was okay, and the other two guys are just as stunned as I am, in the same spot that they were. We all look at each other like the Three Stooges when it dawns on all of us. Science class. What happens when you encapsulate large amounts of ethanol, alcohol, and introduce heat? Yes, you get an explosion. Oh, that is so ludicrous. Like, not a kitchen-ruining explosion, right? Just like, well, probably the oven. Yeah, that door ain't ever gonna fit on the same for sure. OP says, I had made our oven into an IED. Though thankfully it was old and built like a fucking tank. So nothing broke, no one, and nothing was harmed. We just stood there shocked for a moment. His lordship winning the day with the last laugh. Yeah, you're ordering a pizza now, right? Actually, pizza don't sound half bad. I'm in on that.
Pizza time.
Thank you to those who are reading this. Thank you for ReddX taking his time out to read it. Make sure you're watching regularly for your daily source of cringe. Yes, please, thank you. Part of a balanced breakfast, or lunch or dinner, or whatever time you want to watch it. If this gains any traction, I'll be more than happy to tell the full story for Richard the Great. It is a roller coaster. And yeah, I shall leave that up to you, comment section, if you would like to see more, then holler at OP, and I'm sure they'd be happy to provide. I told them what I needed, and it got delivered, so it really speaks to, like, OP's character as a person. You can't help but admire those type of people who get shit done. A lot of that is because, I don't know, I have trouble with that sometimes. I'm in 100 different directions at once. People are like, do you have ADHD? I don't know, bro. Never got tested, not going to, because it's functional enough. If it ain't broke, why fix it? It's not like I'm one of those people that would walk around and introduce myself like, hi, I'm Guy, and I have ADHD and bipolar. Yeah, okay, cool. Just introduce yourself like a human being, please. Is that so hard? At least it has been pointed out for the cringe that it is, and you see it less and less these days, and maybe people could just learn to be people. Sure, you still won't get along with some of them, but overall, I think people are pretty cool. Richard's got, like, some weird ego stuff going on, but I think a lot of that comes from just, like, feeling powerless in his own life. He's got some depression he's dealing with. Like OP said, it's very easy to caricature somebody. But I do realize that he is a human being, although he's a human being that acts like a real douche. So yeah, let OP know if you want to see more. Sign up on the Patreon or the YouTube memberships. If you're already a patron, there's a poll up on whether you'd rather see some, like, you know, custom Reddit stuff or some weird commercials that I found out here in Asia. So far, commercials seem to be winning, so if you like the sound of that, then you can sign up on Patreon. I'd appreciate that a lot. We've also got the fourth wall with all the merch and stuff like that. That's a good way to help out. If you can't afford to do it, that's okay. Maybe you want to share the video around, though. That's a fantastic way to support without throwing money this way. And I know money, it needs to come by these days. But I appreciate you guys hanging out, doing the thing. I want you to remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it. And I shall see you in the next one, friends. So until then, bye-bye.